What's up, guys? Zeenigami here, and we've got so much to go over. Let's blow over Global first. Global's got some boring stuff, but I do want to touch on it real quick. So on the Global version of One Piece Treasure Cruise, we are getting 5+ Robin, Frankie, and Brook. Now, you are going to be able to pick one of their skulls. I would recommend picking any of those 3 skulls. They're all very, very good characters. Robin is a very good side captain and sub. Brook is a great sailor sub, and Frankie is very, very specific uses. One thing to note is whichever one you take, I would recommend getting a second copy of Frankie and leaving him unevolved. So you want one unevolved Frankie, one evolved Frankie. You can just evolve your Brook and just evolve your Robin, though their 5-star versions aren't that useful. So whichever one you get, up to you. All 3 of them are very, very useful. Sai, Robin, especially good for side characters, and Brook especially good for slashers. We are also getting Chopperman missions out tomorrow, and those Chopperman missions are going to allow you to get a copy of all the characters, or at least these characters, as the final bosses of story mode. So all you have to do is go to Chopper, it'll tell you beat the final stage of Alubarna, and then you get Croc. You beat the final stage of Arc Maxim, and then you get, Skypia, and then you get Enel. So if you don't have a Croc, or you don't have an Enel, or a Gainu, or Rayleigh, or you just want an extra copy of those characters, especially Rob Lucci or Moria, all you have to do is beat the island once, and you're guaranteed to get that character. So make sure you do all those story mode runs. You can do it on the half stamina if you want to save some stamina. Get your guaranteed character drop. Very, very nice for anyone who has not yet gotten those characters, especially Rob Lucci, who is one of the best free-to-play quick orb manipulators there are. Turtle Time's coming back, half stamina story mode, skill up chance, turtles, whatever. Cotton Candy Island coming back, yay, awesome, Double Pirate EXP, cool, okay, great. Well, that was over. Let's go over to what we really came here for. We came here for Japan. That's right, Limit Break is out on Japan. Oh boy, Limit Break. So, Limit Break. You got a lot to talk about. This is the new Adventures screen for One Piece Treasure Cruise. As soon as you click on this button down here, it's going to pull up this Adventures screen. Now, if you click on the first button, that'll bring you over to the Story Mode Islands, just like normally. This is where this looks exactly the same, right? Even Bandai is even too lazy to get rid of the button that brings you over to Extra Islands, because why work extra hard? This second button, however, brings you straight to Extra Island. So you can either go here to story mode, or you can go to the Extra Island directly, or you can click on the upper button up there to go to Extra Island. Yeah, you know, and then the back button goes back to story mode. They just put an extra button here. That's really all they did, is they just put an extra screen here. But the most important thing about this screen is right here, this coming soon. Now that might be interesting. The coming soon is a new mode. We don't know what this mode is. And it's not going to be coming out until next month. So next month, we're going to get whatever this new mode is. So it's going to be different from the story mode, different from the Extra Island mode. And yes, the Mary is up there, even though the Mary's dead. May he marry in pieces. Now, when you go over to the power up screen, we have the ship button down here. Ship's now down here in the bottom left. And this button is the sailor ability button. The limit break button. So you click on that, it sorts to all the characters that have limit breaks. All of them have limit breaks, are now glowing. If you go to the database, you can also sort by limit break on a database to see which characters are limit breakable. When you click on them, this is what limit break looks like. There are flat stat upgrades. So these red ones are attack upgrades. The green ones are recovery upgrades. And the orange ones are health upgrades. These ones right here are probably the most interesting. Those are the limit break abilities. This anchor is the sailor ability. This is a cooldown reduction. So for every one of these orbs is always 1 turn of cooldown reduction. This is another socket. So for each one of these, your character gets an additional socket. And another limit break abilities. Now, in order to find out what each limit break ability is, you must click on it in order to read it. And this is unique for every single character. So every single character that has limit break abilities have completely different limit breaks. So it's going to take us a little while to get this updated properly on the database. So we're like, this is People are compiling lists of it on Reddit, so you can go to Reddit. There's some characters lists on there. I'm going to go over all the free-to-play characters right now, and we will have details on the rare recruit characters later, but at least the free-to-play characters, I'm going to tell you right now what their limit break abilities are. And these limit break abilities, important to note that every limit break ability levels up 5 times. Now, these stat upgrades, sailor ability upgrades, captain ability upgrades, socket upgrades, those do not level up. Only specifically these limit breakable abilities are the ones that level up. They level up to level 5. Now, this first one for Akainu is a critting ability. So whenever Akainu attacks, if you hit a perfect, he has a 20% chance to increase that damage by 5%. Now this levels up to 5 times, and I believe it's a 50% chance to crit for up to 5% damage. Alright, the 5% damage always stays the same. The difference is the critting ability. So he goes up to a 50% chance to crit for 5% additional damage. Now, it seems to be that this crit only works on Akainu and only on his attack. So it's not like all attacks have a chance to crit, only his attacks have a chance to crit for an additional 5% damage. Oh, it upgrades to 10%. So at max, it actually goes up to 10% chance, 10% extra damage, and I believe it's 50% chance for 10% extra damage. Okay, I thought that 5% never changed. The second Akainu ability is if you take damage, then he will enrage and gain 20 extra attacks. So his base stat just goes up by 20. It's as if you fed him 10 extra cotton candy whenever you take damage. Now, it's not that big of a boost, but you know, it can matter in the long run. Woodwind with a 9-month resub, appreciate it. And then up here, his final limit break ability is reduces the duration of, and I'm going to say it, slot bind, or binding slots, because that's what Bandai calls it. This is the orb rejection or orb blanking, whatever ability, but Bandai's official phrase is bind slot. So reduces the duration of slot bind by 3 turns for Akainu, and only Akainu, not for all characters. So it's not going to really make a difference on like Ambush Cabbage, but maybe on some other fights it will make a difference. So those are the big ones. Oh, Akainu also has a sailor ability where if he is a sailor, once again, sailor abilities are only active when he is not the captain, doubles his damage against quick characters. So basically, against a quick character, he deals neutral damage as a sailor, not as a captain. Now, important to note that in order to limit break your character, you must have the character at max level. So this first line right here says max level requirement 99, which is strange because you always must be level 99 in order to limit break a character. And this takes 5,000 EXP points. Now, what do we call the EXP points? Chat can remind me about that. It's hard for me to keep track of all the different names, but it's 5,000 potion points that you must get in order to, or 5 million potion points in order to max out Legends. All other characters are only 2 million, but Legends are 5 million. Proficiency is what we're calling it. The preview picture showed Akainu breaking his when Luffy had 20 turns, so level 5. Oh, right. Because this limit break ability also goes up. So it goes up from 3, and we don't know. So the thing about these limit break abilities is that even though they level up, we actually can't tell what the maximum level is, or you can't tell what the different levels are until you actually reach that point. So it begins at 3, that's correct. It begins at 3, but it's not until you actually raise your proficiency up to the point where you unlock it that you can actually see what its levels are. So once you actually get its proficiency up, which the proficiency will fill up this little bar here that worms around up to 5 million, which goes all the way up here, then you'll be able to see what the levels are. And people have not yet gotten there yet because this just came out, and we only have just begun to get it. So let's go to 5+ Luffy. Long click, you can see the regular character. Click it once, you can see its limit break line. So 5+ Luffy's limit break line starts with cooldown reduction. He ends up with 4 turns of cooldown reduction. So and that's not just at the start of an island, that means his total special level Instead of having a 16-turn special, Luffy now has a 12-turn special. That's pretty good. A 12-turn special that delays for 1 turn and deals a pretty good amount of damage for 5+ Luffy. So he goes cooldown reduction, attack, recovery. Then he has a limit break ability that is whenever you take damage, gains 20 attack, health, recovery, cooldown reduction, health. A sailor ability, and his sailor ability is if Luffy is the last character to attack, he gains 100 attack. Now that is really good, but you have to remember that it is only active when he is not the captain, because that is a sailor ability. So sailor ability to gain 100 attack if he is the last character to attack. Cooldown reductions. Another sailor ability that is something with orbs. I can't remember what Luffy's orb thing is off the top of my head. And the final limit break ability. This is the removes no healing debuff. So that's the debuff that you get on raid boss Akainu. The negates all healing. So it starts at 1 turn of no healing negation or no healing debuff. Not the healing reduction, but the no healing at all, which is the one that you would see on raid boss Akainu. It starts at 1, goes up to we don't know. And you have to remember that once again, since this is unique to every single character, if 5+ Luffy has this healing negation reduction, another character with healing negation reduction might have different durations. So even though, like, let's say 5+ Luffy at level 5 is a 5-turn healing negation, some other character might have 10 turns of healing negation, or 3 turns of healing negation, or something like that. And away from Luffy, we got Blackbeard. Raid boss Blackbeard will get he has 2 limit breakable abilities. So recovery boosts, yay. Health boosts, which are most important. His sailor ability, pretty neat. Raid boss Blackbeard's sailor ability actually boosts the attack of strength characters by 120. So that's 120 health boosts. That's pretty great. It's a lot, especially when it adds up on 6 characters. Gets an additional socket and has 2 limit breaks. So something important to note about the limit break abilities is whenever you feed a copy of a character to themselves, you can do that to level up the limit break ability. So like I said, there's 2 ways to level up a limit break ability, either by feeding a character to himself or using these limit break tomes or tablets. We don't know what they're called yet. They're not actually out in the game, but these tablets are going to be used to level up your limit break abilities. So this one is used to level up the enraging limit break ability. That's whenever you take damage, you gain attack. This is to level up if you hit a perfect, you heal. And that's 6-star Hancock. The Psy 6-star Hancock has that ability where if you hit a perfect with her, she heals for 2 times her recovery at the end of the turn. That's like 1,000 healing just by hitting her perfect with her. That's really good. Here's the slot bind that Akainu has. And then we have piercing ability. The piercing ability is going to be seen a lot on shooters. A lot of shooters have piercing. RIP. Whoops. We're back. We're ripped. We're back. And this one is the one on 5+ Luffy that is healing negation reduction. So this 5+ Luffy healing negation reduction tablet right there. And this is the critting one for perfects. So you can either use the tablet to level up their abilities. So this Blackbeard one has a 10% chance to hit a perfect for 3% crit. And if you level that up, that will go up and up and up to whatever the max level is for the Blackbeard. But you can also, instead of using a tablet, use the copy of a character on the same evolution line. So you have to use Raid Boss Blackbeard. You can't use a different Blackbeard in order to level up that limit break ability. So you can't use a 6-star Blackbeard like you would do that, but you can't use a different Blackbeard in order to level up Raid Boss Blackbeard's captain limit break ability, just like you can't use Fortnite Luffy in order to level up 5+ Luffy. You have to use the same evolution line. Now, it doesn't have to be the same Luffy. You can use Gear 2 Luffy, you can use Luffy's 3-star version, but it has to be the same Luffy evolution line in order to limit break their ability. And so we have the critting ability here, the health boosting sailor ability, and Blackbeard's final one is piercing, which if you are, the level 1 says if you're at full health, whenever you attack with this character, he will ignore barriers. Now that's the same ability as rate as 6-star Blackbeard's captain ability. This only works for himself though, and it looks like it will be working if they are a captain or as a sailor. So let's say you're using a team of strength characters and someone has a very high combo barrier but only has a low amount of health, you could just slap a Raid Boss Blackbeard on that team who has been fully limit broken, and this might go down to, like, if you're above half health, then you get to actually use his limit break ability. Then you can just put him on there and use him as your limit breaker, or to get through the barriers. And a lot of shooters have this ability. It's something that a lot of shooters have that will get through the limit break. Let's go over to the Gladius. Right? Yeah, Gladius. So Gladius, boom, has 2 limit breaks and a sailor. Limit break ability, one is 20%, 20 attack whenever you take damage. Sailor ability that reduces silence on him for 2 turns. And another limit break ability that is, I believe this is a piercing one. Yep, this is piercing, so attacks go through barriers. We're just gonna go over the free-to-play characters now. Really, really neat that the Raid Boss Mihawk gets 2 additional sockets. So Raid Boss Mihawk now goes up to 3 sockets. So he actually beats out Neo Mihawk and gets 3 sockets on Dex Mihawk. He also has a better captain ability. Now this is the first time I'm actually showing you a better captain ability. But the better captain ability is 2.5 times attack for slashers and 1.3 times health for slashers. So extra health and the same 2.5 times attack for slashers. And Mihawk's last limit break ability is recovering from orb slot bind. God, I gotta call it Bandai's name. Recover from slot bind for 1 turn. So this is level 1, only reducing by 1 turn, whereas Akainu's slot bind reduction is 3 turns at level 1. So Dex Mihawk, same final limit break as Akainu, but has a much lower duration of reduction. Next we have, just going over farmable, Kizaru. Kizaru has critting, sailor ability that enrages whenever he takes damage. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is just 20 attack boost for shooters. That's 20 attack boost for shooters. 20 stat boost for shooters. 20 stat boost, I believe, not just attack. His new captain ability now reduces cooldowns by 3 turns at the start. He also now boosts attack by 2.35 times and boosts health by 1.5. So now has 3 turns cooldown reduction, 2.35 times shooter attack, and 1.5 times health. And the final limit break ability is, like many shooters, the piercing ability. So attacks will go through barriers like perfect hit barriers, orb color barriers, and combo hit barriers. I have no Psy limit breakable characters, that's pretty funny. And Zephyr has... Zephyr has, I believe this is Enrage. Yep, that's Enrage, 20 extra attack whenever you take damage. A sailor ability that boosts the attack or stats for shooters by 20. Captain ability that will now do 2.5 times attack for shooters, 1.2 times health for shooters, and heals for 300 at the end of each turn. And the final limit break ability is piercing. Yep, it's piercing. Basically most of the shooters have piercing as their final one. And the last farmable character that has limit break is Bindy World. Bindy World has Enrage. Yep, that's Enrage, 20 attack when you take damage. Sailor ability that boosts attack by 100 if he's the last character to attack, and the final limit break ability, which is, and say it together, piercing. So those are the farmable limit breakable characters. There are many other ones. So Chinjiao is limit breakable. No side character for me. There's Buffalo and Gladius or Ideo. Nope. Gladius. Got it right the first time. So all these characters limit breakable. You can find details about them on Reddit. We will eventually have them up on the database, but it is a lot of information to go through, a lot of stuff to put on each character. And so we are trying to work out a system that would make this easy for people to access and actually make sense and works in the damage calculator for the database. So that's a little difficult. So here, this orange button right here, finally going over to that orange button, shows you your inventory for crystals and potions. And you have one mailbox right now that allows you to get crystals of red, green, blue, yellow, purple. I want to say off the top of my head, red, green, blue, yellow, purple. And I want the red one because I want to level up my 5+ Luffy and Akainu first. You say yes, you'll get your materials. Boom. 30, 10, and then 2. If you go back to the limit break area, I can click on inventory. You can see that I now have 30, 10, and then 2 of the limit break materials. And these are the ones that are needed to level up. So in order to level up the first part of Luffy, I must get 10,000 experience from potions and also unlock this with 2 of the first shard. Then I have the 20,000 and 2 shards, then 30,000 and 3 shards, then 40,000 and 3 shards and 1 of the medium crystals. And you always need the proficiency. Those are proficiency items. Proficiency is how much experience you need. No, sorry. You need 30,000 proficiency, 40,000 proficiency. And to get those crystals, you'll have to farm different things. There is right now on the extra island some limited time Rebecca Islands. So right here, there's a 20 stamina limited time Rebecca Island for 30 minutes and a 50 stamina limited time Rebecca Island for 30 minutes. I will be making guides for the 50 stamina, and that will also apply for the 30 stamina. And on this 1 stamina island right here, you can get a potion right now. Make sure you use Buggy if you can, so you can try to get an extra potion, or use Haruta or Bakura as your captain in order to try to get extra potions. I'm gonna go down. We're gonna use Buggy. Thank you. And another Buggy. Boom, boom. Yes. So, we'll get a Buggy. Buggy will drop. Beautiful rainbow. I believe Buggy is the one that is the potion, and that's the one we want. Instead of being 3 stages, now it's 4 stages. Turtle, we don't want duplicate of the turtle. Oh, Rebecca. Rebecca is the potion, sorry. You're the one I want, Rebecca. That's the potion. Give me Rebecca potion. Come on, Rebecca potion. Be nice. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Don't give me a turtle. Or cotton candy. Potion. Alright, I only got 1 potion. And this is the medium potion, which is 100... Or, I think it's either 10,000 or 100,000. So to do that, you go over to the Luffy. Say I want to limit break him. 100,000. Yes. And there you go. That's what the limit break system looks like once you leveled up. You can see 100,000 gets me up to the 5th level. So I now have 1 cooldown reduction. Well, I have to unlock this. Yes, I would like to. Now that's active. So that's active. I can activate this one. And I believe you can activate multiple levels at once. So I can go over to here, and it will tell me that I need 6 and 1. So it activates it all the way up to there. And now you can click on this. How do I level that up? I don't know how you actually level that up. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out later. Another time. But that's how you level up limit break stuff. That's pretty neat. And then one last thing we want to go over. Whoops. Oh, on the character info page. Okay, let's go over to character info page. Ah. Here you go. So on the character info page, these are his limit break sockets. So you can see the 2 limit break sockets available, 5+ Luffy, and you can see that this has 5 levels. and that at level 5 he gets 100 attack upon taking damage. So that's actually a lot better. So from 20 attack upon taking damage, if you take damage, he gets 100 extra attack, which is 50 whole cotton candy, which puts Luffy from 1700 to 1800 damage, or 1800 attack, which is pretty nice boost if you take damage that turn. One final thing we want to go over before we end this super long news update video is stuff about the Battle Royale event on Japan. Oh, also buying stuff in gem sale. So there is a gem sale going on in Japan. So for 450 yen, you can get 15 gems, which is a pretty great deal. And for 2,000, you can get 50 gems. So enough for a multi-pull for about $18 or so. So $18 for multi-pull in Japan. You can only buy each of those once. You'll know because those are the pretty buttons on the shop where you normally buy gems. We get new Rob Lucci coming out. New Rob Lucci is already on the database. You can find out all the information on there. This video is already long enough. I'm not going to go over him right now. But I will go over the Battle Royale event, which is this one. So this Battle Royale event is going to be another one of the, if you are in the top X number of players, top 5,000 players, you get a reward. So once again, it's a top 5,000 in each of these. We're going to get a free legendary character pull. It's only Pika, Diamante, and Treble. It's Doflamingo's family, but Doflamingo is not actually there. He's just in the background to remind you that these guys have to do with Doflamingo. Pika is the hardest difficulty, then Diamante, then Treble. The top 4,000 of each one is going to get the tomes that I showed you earlier. No, they're going to get materials. Those are the materials that you need to unlock the limit break abilities, the ones that you just saw me, that you got in the mail, and that you need to actually unlock and activate the abilities. The top 5,000 in all three are legends. The top 2,000 of Pika, which is the hardest one, is going to be an additional legend. So if you're top 2,000, you get an additional legend, including the 5,000 legend. The top 1,000 of Diamante is an additional legend, and the top 100 of Treble, which is the easiest one, is going to get an additional legend. Now, a big thing to note about this is that whenever this event starts on the 15th at 1800 hours on Japanese time, remember this is Japanese time, so convert that to whatever local time you are, is going to be half stamina for all three difficulties. And then after that, you'll get an additional half stamina starting with Treble, then Diamante, then Pika. So Pika is going to be the last one right before the event ends. It's going to be half stamina. If you have a character that is on this list right here, now, thanks to Sekapoko, who has created a list of all these characters, and all these characters are the list right here of characters that have their stats boosted by 1.5 times and their cooldowns reduced by 10 turns at the start. So if you want to farm, you want to use these characters when you can. So they include Marigold, Jeet, Luffy, Hyrule, and all these. This part right here just reminds you what colors those characters have, and this part over here reminds you what classes these characters have. So what this says is that there is a red, a blue, there's actually a green Luffy, he missed that one, a purple and a yellow Luffy. So Luffy has all the colors, and he has a striker, a fighter, free spirit version, yada 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 yada. Luffy also technically has a slasher version if you count unevolved int Luffy. Come on, Sekapoko. But here's a list of all the characters with 1.5 times attack. And really important is that if you are a striker, slasher, powerhouse, or shooter character, they have an additional 1.5 times attack. This goes all the way up to 3.375 times attack. So if they are a stat boosted character and they are a shooter and striker or shooter slasher or striker slasher or something like that, if they are a combination of two of these classes, once again, striker, slasher, powerhouse, and shooter, and they're also on this list of stat boosted characters, they get a total of 3.375 times attack boost. That is huge. That's such a big attack boost for your characters, and including the 10 turn cooldown reduction. So if you want to farm this event, you want to get these characters, or you want to use one of these characters. Important to note are the Luffy, a very great Luffy, Easy to get a lot of different Luffys. Chinjiao, who's also a striker powerhouse. So in Chinjiao, striker powerhouse, bam. If you do just general striker teams, slasher teams, shooter teams, or powerhouse teams, of course, basically your entire team gets 1.5 times attack, or even 2.25 times attack if you have a striker, slasher, blah, 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 blah. So try to make teams that revolve around those sort of things. And that, my friends, is basically everything you need to know about what's coming up in Japan and the limit break system. Oh, man, it's a lot to go over. It was a very, very wordy, very, very long video, but hopefully that will give you a good idea of what the limit break system is, how to get proficiency with potions on your characters, how to see your inventory of what kind of crystals that you have, the large crystals, the medium, and the small crystals. We don't know how to get them yet. We'll be able to farm them at a different event, and the Rebecca Limited Time Island are going to help you get proficiency potions, which I will have in another guide out on later. I've been Zeenigami. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, consider coming watching us live on twitch.tv. Right now, if you subscribe for the first time on Twitch, you get half off. So instead of being a $5 sub, it's only a $2.50 sub, and all of that will go help support the stream, especially right now since the adpocalypse is happening on YouTube, and I'm getting videos demonetized left and right for saying bad words, because YouTube doesn't like it when you say bad words, so shush, shush, shush. No more bad words for Zeenigami. Now he's a good kid. Hear that, YouTube? I'm a good kid. Please don't demonetize me. I like doing this as my full-time job. Thank you so much for watching, and y'all stay beautiful.